We are back. Part 5 of the entire Atticus Dini CD collection. I'm experimenting here today with this mic. As you can see, there's no pop filter right now, so you will be hearing a lot of p and b. Sorry about that. I wish I could do something about it, but I don't have a pop filter for now. I do think it will help because the audio is kind of quiet last time. Today in episode 5, we will be covering CDs from P through S. This is the second to last episode. I hope you all have been enjoying this series. And as always, we are going from the artist's last name, not the first name, in the alphabetization of this. To kick off the episode, we have Liz Phair, Juvenilia. This is an EP I picked up a while ago because it had some of Liz Phair's Girly Tapes tracks on it. They're hard to find on CD, so I had to grab this. I don't really have a specific favorite song. I kind of forget. Jealousy is pretty good. I know that one is on Whip Smart. To follow that, we have Liz Phair's album Whip Smart. I believe this is Liz Phair's second album. It definitely seems like she was honest with herself when making this and just doing whatever she wanted with the way she writes her music. Favorite song on here is definitely Shane. Next up, we have Caroline Polachek, Pang. A lot of people at the school I go to absolutely love Caroline Polachek. I think she's pretty cool, and I'm glad to have this album. Favorite song on here, I probably got to be Basic. It's So Hot You're Hurting My Feelings. Next up, we have Pusha T, Daytona. I wasn't super hype on this when it first came out, but I've definitely come around to it. I think it's a great album and one of the better of the albums that Kanye put out back in 2018. I think this is when this came out. Favorite song on here is If You Know You Know, or maybe What Would Meek Do. Next up, we have Charlie Puth, Voicenotes. Charlie Puth's career has been interesting because it went from very bad to very good until very average now, I think. This is definitely the best of his work in my opinion. Favorite song on here is probably Boy or Slow It Down. Next up, we have Quasimoto, Yessir, Whatever. Shout out to my friend Sam for putting me onto Quasimoto. This is Madlib's rap alter ego, I believe. Iconic cover art and very chill, laid back rapping here. I think favorite song is The Front, except they're all pretty sick. Next up, we have Kid A by Radiohead. I picked this up at a thrift because I felt like I should hear it, and I haven't yet because it's absolutely scratched to bits, so no favorite song. I've debated throwing that CD out a couple times just because of how scratched it is. Next up, we have Everybody Hurts by R.E.M. This is like a single/EP type thing. Obviously, Everybody Hurts is on here, but it also has a demo, a live version of a song, and an unreleased song. Well, all the songs on here are pretty good. I think my favorite is probably the Star Me Kitten demo. Next up, we have 2 releases of the same album. First is a pre-released copy of Rigby Picnic's The Bog of Eternal Stench. I'm friends with Jake. He's the mind behind Rigby Picnic. He gave me this version before the album actually came out. It's got a hand-drawn cover. I also have the official release of the CD right here. Shout out to Jake. This album is very sick. I like it a lot. Favorite song on here is Up to You. Next up, we have Talk That Talk by Rihanna. This album has so many hits and probably one of my favorite Rihanna songs in Talk That Talk with Jay-Z. The box is also very cool. If I can open it, I can't open it all the way, but this CD also opens up with a lot of like fold outs and stuff. Like I said, favorite song is Talk That Talk with Jay-Z. Next up, we have Anti by Rihanna. Sadly, this is the clean version. I've been wanting to get the explicit version for a long time, but I just don't want to drop the excessive amounts of money. And also, it's kind of a rare CD. I don't see it much. Favorite song on here is James Joint, I think, except there's just so many good ones. Goodnight Gotham and Never Ending are both super underrated from that album. Next, we have Maggie Rogers, Heard It in a Past Life. I found this CD in a thrift shop fully sealed, and I got it from my mom because she loves Maggie Rogers, but then I ended up taking it back. I was very into Maggie Rogers when her early stuff was coming out, and I haven't listened as much recently, but this album definitely has some of the greats. Alaska's on here. That's a great one. I also really like On and Off. Next up, we have Mark Ronson, Uptown Special. I was obsessed with this album when I first started listening to the actual whole thing. For a while, the only song I knew was Uptown Funk, but I was very happy to find out that there are more amazing songs, a lot better than that one on here. Lots of features from songwriters in the industry too, which is pretty cool. Favorite track is either Summer Breaking or Daffodils, or maybe I Can't Lose. Next, we have Bob Schneider, Lonelyland. This is a CD that my dad played a lot when I was a little kid. Cool singer-songwriter, rock, indie stuff. Favorite song on here is definitely Better. Next up, we have a small collection of CDs. First off, starting with Travis Scott, Rodeo. And well, recently it has been hard to be a Travis Scott fan. I honestly have found myself distancing from him a lot. I have to admit, his music has always been interesting to me. And I used to say Rodeo is one of the best produced albums ever. I don't fully agree with that anymore, but it definitely has some solid songs. At this moment, favorite song on here is 3500. Next, we have Birds in the Trap sing McKnight. This was my introduction to Travis Scott. It's arguably my least favorite out of the 3, but that does not say much because it still has a lot of solid songs. Favorite song is probably The Ends. Next up, we have Travis Scott's ASTROWORLD. This is the night edition as well. Again, another very solid artistic effort from Travis Scott. Favorite songs on here are Astro Thunder, Coffee Bean, Yosemite, and also we have Travis Scott Franchise. This was a limited edition single. As you can see, I did buy into Travis Scott for a while while, and it is very sad to see what happened at his festival. I do think that he could have done more to prevent what happened. I won't view him in the same way after this, but I will continue to check out what he puts out. Next up, we have The Script, Science and Faith. I found this CD in New York very recently. It has 2 very good hits, For the First Time and Nothing. There's also a version of the song Walk Away on here with B.O.B. that is very rare on the internet. It's not on streaming, and with this CD I can finally hear this song in full quality, and it's very satisfying. Next up, we have a CD single of Kiss Me by Sixpence None the Richer. Classic old song, and I'm always down for singles. However, this is in a very weird setup. For some reason, it's basically backwards. The cover is on the back, and as you can see, the front is the track list, and it has a couple bonus versions of it. It's very odd. Next up, we have Skrillex EP Scary Monsters and Nice Sprites. I used to be a big fan of Skrillex, however, I don't really play this anymore. I barely remember these songs, but I'll say Rock and Roll is my favorite. Next up, we have Skrillex Bangarang EP. I don't listen to this one anymore either. Favorite song on here is probably Right In. Next up, we have a very new addition to the CD collection, Slow Pulp's Movies. It's got this big sticker on the front, which I'm not quite sure what it actually says, but it looks like it was some sort of promo version, which is kind of sick. This is Slow Pulp's only album, and I do like their sound, so I'm excited to hear this one more. I don't have a favorite track at this point. Next, we have Soccer Mommy Clean. This is early Soccer Mommy, but honestly, her writing is top notch here. All these songs sound really good. Favorite song on here is Skin. Next, we have Soul Coughing's Sugar Free Jazz maxi single. It's just got a bunch of different versions of the same song, Sugar Free Jazz. Shout out Mike Doty. I don't have a favorite version from this. Next up, we have Fine Line by Harry Styles. This is definitely my favorite Harry Styles CD, although his first one is pretty good as well. Lots of huge hits on here. Favorite song is probably Golden. Next up, we have Superorganism self-titled debut album. Shout out Orono, the lead singer of this band. I was big into this band when I was in high school, and they are still pretty cool. I know they just put out a new album. Favorite song on here is probably Reflections on My Screen. To round this out, we have 2 very good albums from the same rapper. First up, Earl Sweatshirt, Doris. I haven't listened to it a ton, so I don't know if I can say a favorite from here. And last album of the episode, we have Some Rap Songs by Earl Sweatshirt. This is a very, very, very solid rap album from the 2010s. Amazing production. Earl also sounding very cool. I don't even know what my favorite song is on here. I'll say Red Water because I like the flow on that one. Let me know what your thoughts are on the microphone. If I should keep it going, I will have a pop filter by the next episode, I promise you. And we will also be finishing the collection in the next episode. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like, and I will see you all later. Goodbye.